Everybody, welcome to Hex Token channel. Your host Superman in the house. Good to see everybody. I've got Just Ask Jesse in the green room, so we're going to bring him in shortly. And of course, many of you in the house there. Hope you guys are having a good time. Richard Hart's latest video from Kitco News Part 2 is out, and I haven't actually got to watch it, but it's looking pretty good. And of course, Part 1 was pretty epic as well. So definitely catch up on that one. I'm going to post the links in the video description. But before we do that, let's get into some of the chat there and say a big welcome. Big welcome from Hex Token, of course. Woohoo! And we've got Brazilio in the house as well. Hey, Briz, good to see you. Dancing girls and dancing guys. Nice one. Godfather 2. Yo, what's up, everybody? Nice intro. Yeah, thanks for that. Took that from the old PowerCity team, actually, and just changed the music out. I'm sure Jesse will laugh about that one. And, of course, we got Pulse Maniac in the LFG. And, of course, KD Superman in the house. Woohoo! Yeah, we're here for sure. Ahmed as well. Hey, Ahmed, good to see you. And how I made it, Jesse is the most wanted, lol, says how I made it. Yeah. He's definitely wanted, and I wanted him on the channel, and he's there, so we're lucky to have him. And Katie's in the house there. Let's go, Superman. RH Part 2 is a great interview, says KD. Bob Welt nailed it. Nice one. And good to see everybody in the chat there. We're going to pull in a few people. Yes, if you haven't checked this out, I'm going to post the link to this in the chat just so you can check it out as well. So, woohoo! Yeah. Brazil says, I watched a little bit of the show, and Kitco did what I asked him to do in my tweet. I asked him to cut clips of RH and see if the predictions come true, and they did. That's really good, Briz. Well done, man. Agenda 69, what's up, Paul? Good to see you. Pulsepot in the house. Hey, good to see you, Pulsepot. And congratulations on selling out your Pulsepot project there. Very, very cool for your sacrifice. And Bob Wells as well. Good job, Briz. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Briz, you're always pulling something, a rabbit out of the hat there. Very, very cool. So check it out. This is just out. Crypto scam. It's called Industrial Complex. Richard Hart responds to Ponzi allegations, hate mail. Well, the fact is, it's actually a pretty good, broadly based interview. I just did a couple little jumps through it earlier, but yeah, I'm going to watch the full thing afterwards. So looking forward to it. So definitely check that out. So we're going to click out of there, and of course, we're going to bring on good old Just Ask Jesse in the house. Woohoo! Let's bring him on. There we go. Hey, Jesse. Woohoo!
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well.
It's always a pleasure to have Jesse. We know how amazing Jesse's been in the community around liquid loans and around crypto generally, stable coins, and all the other alpha drops he does in the community. We do appreciate it. And, of course, it's an honor for me to have him on the channel. Woohoo! I don't do that many interviews, Jesse, so you're one of the very first. So, cool. It's good to have you on. We got a couple of comments in there. If Kitco guy isn't a Hexkin after that interview, all hope is lost. Yeah, probably. And Satan's Angels in there as well. Good morning, Satan's Angels. And Katie, Jesse in the house. Yeah, Jesse is in the house. So, woohoo! Welcome. And obviously, you announced the big news about pivoting into new roles in the community.
Yeah. So check it out. Most people are probably aware. Maybe some aren't. I doubt it, but maybe some people aren't aware. I have stepped away from my official title of head of growth and adoption at Liquid Loans. Now, just so everyone's very clear, this is not because there's any FUD or drama or it's falling apart or it's a rug pull or, oh my gosh, it's going to zero. Like, not at all. Here's the deal. So, first off, everything's practically done, right? We have to wait for the chain, but there are SAC balances literally any moment now. There's been some delay because there was an opportunity to build a ticketing system for those SAC balances, which is actually really cool. Modeled a little bit off of Tornado Cash, where you can generate a phrase so you never have to KYC yourself to communicate with Liquid Loans, right? So there was an opportunity there for Liquid Loans to say, well, wait a minute, let's not release SAC balances yet. Let's build this ticketing system because this is really cool. And then that same ticketing system will get carried forward into the main DApp as well, right?
Oh, that's great. That's great.
That had to get built because it's cool and it's necessary, and that's like a critical step if you want communication with your user base, but you still want to maintain it in a decentralized fashion, like an anonymous fashion.
Yeah.
Right. So that's done. You've got like the oracles are figured out. There's a major oracle service that's built all their nodes out on Pulsechain, and there's like an exclusivity thing. Like, listen, that's not announced who that is yet. Everyone's going to know soon enough. But
so
it doesn't.
The importance of the oracles for those who are less familiar in crypto is the price feed, right? The price feed into the.
So you want to have price feeds pulled from multiple places, not just one single DEX.
Mm-hmm.
If you only pull from PulseX, for example, and you pull a feed of Pulse paired to USDC on one single pairing, well, what happens when Richard makes PulseX version 2, which will have the features of like Uniswap v3, and then all liquidity gets moved over to that. But if you hard coded in a price feed from PulseX version 1, you just screwed yourself, and your protocol now also has to launch a version 2, right? And it just complicates things.
Oh yeah.
So you don't want to do that. You don't want to limit yourself to one like single price feed on a DEX. And by the way, that's easily manipulated. If you are pulling just from like a single feed, who's to say a liquidity provider or a whale or something doesn't manipulate that single price feed? But if you have like an oracle, which is like crawling the web, all these nodes are searching for prices at all these different exchanges, and it's aggregating those prices. And if there happens to be a bad price feed, it kicks that out. And it's constantly looking for the true and accurate price from multiple places. And it's doing it in a decentralized fashion with nodes that anybody can run. Anybody can spool one up and participate in that consensus network. That literally is how you protect a protocol from manipulation. Like historically, like oracles were centralized and it was just like one company that ran everything. But like times have changed a bit. Now you have things like Chainlink and Teller and Band and API 3 and all these things that do it in a completely decentralized consensus network fashion. So like whenever you have a lending protocol that's relying on a price of a thing, or a stablecoin protocol that's also reliant on a price of a thing, you have to have these oracles in place.
Yeah.
As well as pulling prices from the DEX. But you got to have both.
So that's so crucial to have the oracles for the price feed for liquid loans. So basically everything's moving forward, like with the sacrifice and everything. And so
you SAC balances, the test net that everyone can play with, that everyone keeps shouting for. That should be right around the corner. I know that Dave and Christian don't want to release those at the same time as the SAC balances.
Okay,
they want to give people a chance to look at their SAC balances and let the dust settle on that, and then move on to the test net. Don't launch it all at once.
Okay, that's a very clear staging. Yeah. Okay, cool.
And then from there, I mean, it's literally a waiting game. Yeah. Right, we have
all those things are like mature now. So, and you're ready to pivot basically yourself, right?
Yeah. So listen, so I looked at, when I was the head of growth and adoption, my hands were a bit tied because as like the community builder of a company, the official. Some people call me the face of the company. Really, Matt's the face. He was the guy he's a YouTuber, but. Some people say, well, I was the face or whatever. To some extent, that's true.
Yeah.
But like my hands were tied from talking about other protocols that I either believed in or invested in or even was a founder in that I contractually couldn't dedicate all my time to. So, and you can't speak from a position in liquid loans and endorse these other things that you like, right? From an official capacity.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, like, I helped build the community over at Liquid Loans. I love Liquid Loans. I will always talk about Liquid Loans. I'll always continue to educate people. That will never change. I'm still out there. I'm still in the Telegram. I'm still on Twitter. I'm still me. Literally, it's a title change.
Don't
It
change.
frees me up to go talk about all this other stuff
Yeah.
and bring adoption in other fashions to Pulsechain. We have to see Pulsechain get huge. I'm talking millions of people, millions and millions of people we want to see on Pulsechain.
Yeah.
And like, can I do that all from one single little pedestal over at Liquid Loans? Like, I did the best I could. All right. We built that up. It's going to be awesome, everyone. Listen, that is an amazing protocol, but it's time for me to spread my wings a little bit and do what I do best and build the community more from more angles than just Liquid Loans.
Yeah, I mean, you've done a fantastic job over at Liquid Loans in that front with the moderators and the social media, as obviously as well as Matt out there doing his YouTubing and things like that. But it's been what you've done has been amazing. You've been spreading the word. You've influenced a lot of people with a lot of ideas and, of course, onboarding and things like that. So, and PowerCity is perfectly positioned for your attention now, I think, and other projects that you want to talk about. So I think that's pretty exciting. Now we're going to pull in this next side here with. So now you've sort of heard Jesse moving is pivoting to a new direction, and of course you've got here you've got Pulsechain at the moment. So I wanted to talk about, just trying to find my comment that I had here. Pulsechain at the moment, and have you got much thoughts about how this is progressing?
Well, I've been pondering some comments people were making about ETH 2.0, and it would be nice to get more updates from Richard. I think we all agree upon that.
Yeah,
because we're all kind of in the dark. They're rewriting some code, trying to make it so the network can't be like spam attacked. Now, listen, I'm not a dev, but if the gas is too cheap, what prevents somebody, like, if let's say the gas price for a transaction is like 0.00000 like 1, if it's really small, and then I write a script to run millions and millions of transactions, and those transactions just fill up all the blocks, and it only costs me $20 to do it, or $100 to do it, and I literally just spam the network because the gas price is too cheap.
Well, this is what happened to Polygon, right? So they raised Gwei from 1 Gwei to 30 Gwei.
Right. So you can either raise the gas prices or start out at higher, or devise a way to prevent these spam attacks. And it's my understanding, and again, I'm not a dev, but it's my understanding Richard's developing a way to prevent the network from being spammed like that.
Yeah. And that
would literally freeze the network.
Yeah. That's been my biggest concern, is after I saw what happened to Polygon, that was an attack vector for Pulsechain, especially being cheap and faster and all the rest of it. That was the one Achilles heel, as it were, potentially. So
something else I wanted to comment about the chain, so ETH 2.0, it seems like it's getting closer and closer. Maybe there's only one more test net and then ETH 2.0 is there. I tweeted an email that was leaked that talks about it. It's kind of hard to decipher. It looks like there's going to be one more test net, and then it's go time for ETH 2.0. But remember, everyone, it doesn't fix the gas prices. It doesn't fix the congestion. It could still be just as slow, or nearly as slow, It just changes it from one consensus network like type to another, but it doesn't like fix the problems that people care about, which is gas prices and speed. It doesn't fix that.
Yeah. They've penciled in the 19th September as the current date. So they may or may not hit that again. They may have to push it out further. But like you say, it's just the merge. It's just the move to the proof of stake. It's not going to do the fees and the speed per se. So you're right. We have got plenty of time from that point of view.
Right.
Cool. We've got a couple of questions in here. We might as well we'll get to some of those because they're a bit later. But we're probably going to jump on from Pulsechain and get into PowerCity. I think we'll just jump into there. So this is the PowerCity architecture and for the ecosystem. And there's quite a few projects in there. Do you want to talk about a few of these?
So, all right. So I'm going to start digging into understanding the community and what the community needs to understand out of PowerCity. Because when you first look at this, you're like, oh, there's a lot of things going on. And that's the number one thing I hear about PowerCity. Oh, they have so much stuff going on there. It's just too complex, or it's huge. It doesn't. What is all this stuff? And we can literally break this down into just a few things. Each of them are important for adoption to the chain.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have this thing called a cross-chain swap, right? And we put cool names behind it like transformer, amplifier, accelerator, flux, right? These are just filler words because they sound cool and they fit with PowerCity, all right? But let's look at what each one of these things is. You got a cross-chain swap. What does that mean? Well, usually when you go through a bridge, you have a token. The bridge contract collects your token and stores it, and then most bridge contracts will mint you a version like a replica thing of that and drop it onto the chain you're going to. And those two now, but the bridge contract holds your thing, and the two are supposed to be redeemable for each other. So if you're running around on Polygon and you have a wrapped token, like you can bring that back to the bridge, it'll burn itself, release the original token back on the ETH chain. But what ends up happening is you have these giant pools, tons of pools inside of a bridge contract that has to communicate across two different chains, and that's very hard to do. And attacks always, like the biggest attacks in crypto are always these bridge pools that end up having all these funds drained from the bridge. So you'll have ETH and you'll have Link and you'll have USDC and USDT and all these coins like stored inside of a bridge, and then the bridge gets hacked because the communication trying to talk to two chains and combine them all and like tell each chain what you want it to do, there's always an attack vector in the middle, and all the money ends up going missing. Like this is how the attacks happen. Hundreds of millions of dollars go missing from these bridges. With a cross-chain swap, it solves that to an extent. It makes it much, much safer. So, and a better user interface. So instead of having all these variety of different tokens inside of a single entity that has keys and stuff, that owns all these coins, these ERC20s, instead the ERC20s or the PRC20s or whatever, depending on what chain you're on, they're all stored on the DEXs. They're in Uniswap. It's a liquidity pool over there. They're over in PulseX. They're in a liquidity pool over there. And instead what you do is you have a what feels to you like a swap function. Let's say you've got Link on one chain and you want Hex on the other chain. You bring your Link in. It'll actually just swap it for a native token temporarily. You don't even need this. You don't even see that happening. And then it'll do like a burn and mint process, and then it'll do a swap for you on the other chain and give you the thing that you're looking for. And so you'll go from one chain to another, and it feels like all you did is swap your Link for Hex. and it did it across 2 different chains.
Mm.
And it's much safer because you don't have these giant pools of all these ERC20s. And it's just a better user experience. And then it's easy to connect these into all these different chains: Avalanche, Phantom, Binance Smart Chain. And listen, we want users from all these chains to come to Pulsechain, right?
Absolutely. So, this is one of my favorite utilities coming to Pulsechain.
Yeah. So if you can convince all these people on these different chains, hey, we've got similar stuff that you like to play with over here on Pulsechain. But then you present them with a cross-chain swap, so it's super easy for them to come over to the chain. So they don't have to like start hopping over to Ethereum and then it's not complicated. They simply go to the cross-chain swap and they're like, well, I got some of this coin. Can I have some, Hex on Pulsechain? Right? You're presenting an easy way for them to come through, and the contracts simply just do swaps on the 2 chains. It's a beautiful thing. It's necessary. Okay, so that's a cool. And by the way, the fees get fed back into the core,
core there. Yeah. So this is where all the fees go in the core. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a staker of the WA token, you're gonna get rewards from all the fees, right? So just like back in liquid loans, the fees go to the users. Really, it's kind of the same way here. You're gonna get rewards for staking, and you're going to collect some fees. Okay, so it's a beautiful thing. The more people pile into the Pulse chain, which is what we all want, the more that you're going to benefit by participating in this protocol.
I know, and that's why I love it so much. It's got all these power packed utilities, and it's the only project that it's got this kind of scale that I'm aware of in Pulse chain, and it's all feeding into this core. In terms of getting, if you own the WAT token, you're going to get paid and PLS for all that. So it's beautiful. I love it. I love it.
All right. So that's one piece. Let's set that aside for a second. Let's talk about Pixel Park NFT marketplace.
Yeah, that's at the top here.
So think there's a lot of NFT platforms on the Pulse chain. Okay, I do believe Pixel Park will be the largest. There sure are a crap load of devs working on it, and it looks phenomenal. It's going to be huge. And I think people aren't grasping how much interest there is in this platform from some big players. So Boxable, multi-billion-dollar tiny home company. You may have heard it before, and it went in one ear and right out the other. Listen, I'm not a fan of NFTs the way that people believe that NFTs are. It's just a picture. That's not what an NFT is. NFTs are really are revolutionary, because all an NFT is an ownership receipt. It's a singular token that says you own something somewhere else. Usually that's a digital piece of art on a centralized hosted server like OpenSea or something. It could be hosted on a decentralized web. It could be a music file, a video file. It could be a smart contract that says you own the serial number to such and such a TV. It could be anything. It could be a ticket to get you into a concert. It's literally just an ownership receipt. And what it allows you to do is take your ownership rights and put them up for sale. So what you see a lot of course, is people have these ownership receipts of these JPEGs and they put them up for sale, and there's auctions and all this. But like the long-term vision for crypto is, what's the next thing that we can do with NFTs? Can we literally use them for concert tickets, so that when you're unable to go to a concert, you're like, oh, I can't make the date anymore. You just put it back up for sale and somebody else instantly buys it, because you're selling it for a couple bucks less than like what they could get it for new. And it's not used, but you just put it up for sale and you want to guarantee that it sells. There's all these people buying these concert tickets. for $50 a piece, and you're like, well, I'll sell mine for 45. You put it up there, and it's literally smart contract. It's in somebody else's wallet. They're able to attend the concert with that now. That's their ticket. Okay. These things are actually happening in crypto, and it has the potential to be revolutionary. It has the potential to fix voting systems in the future, far down the line. There's big players like Cardano and stuff that are like thinking of this stuff like 20 years down the road. But you have smaller organizations that are doing their piece to do the same thing. And NFT Pixel Park is literally doing that with a real estate company or a tiny home company right now. So you can buy an NFT that gives you an ownership, a record of saying, listen, this is redeemable for a house at any point. You hold this in your wallet, and if at any point you want to take, and you can sell that, by the way. If the markets for these houses go up, and you're like, oh, sweet. I could sell this for 20% more than I made it for or whatever. That's your right. Put it back up for sale. Somebody else can collect it. But if at any point you actually want to take possession of your property, it's redeemable. And you can redeem it back for the actual physical tiny home that they'll build for you. This is just one small piece of putting NFTs in the direction they need to go. JPEGs are cool. People like those things, okay? People always speculate and buy. And even what's cool about JPEGs is every single NFT, every single ownership receipt, which is what an NFT is, can be sold at whatever, or you can ask whatever price you want, and if somebody's willing to pay, they'll buy it. Mm-hmm. It's not that they don't have liquidity pools for your NFT. It doesn't exist. Regular ERC20s, there's thousands of, or millions, or billions of, and the price is simply dictated by all these giant broader markets and the ratios in these liquidity pools. But with these NFTs, which is an ownership thing, it's just, hey, I got this item somewhere. Here's my receipt. Would you like to own this item? I want to sell it to you for this price. And if somebody pays you, you give it to them. It's not dependent on any liquidity pools. Nobody else can manipulate that price. Only you and the buyer. That's it. You and the buyer make the decision what it sells for. Regular ERC20s, anybody else can manipulate the price, withdraw liquidity, add liquidity, do some screwing around, be the large whale that does whatever. Listen, that is impossible with an NFT. It's just you and the buyer. And some people don't like NFTs, maybe because they're not able to move the prices like they do with other things. All right. So NFTs are cool. And Pixel Park is doing something revolutionary.
How I Made It's got a question here. What happens if that NFT ownership of a house gets stolen, hacked? How will this be decided? I don't know if that's relevant to you.
Just like anything else in crypto, if your stuff gets stolen or hacked, you're going to lose all your money. It's that simple. Now, I do like to talk about how you can prevent from having your keys stolen. This is a topic for a whole another day, but hidden passphrases are absolutely the way, besides multi-sig, hidden passphrases, especially with Treasure, are the way to protect yourself from any seed phrase compromise. People who are not using a hardware wallet, you're in the wrong. But if you're using a hardware wallet and you're not also using the hidden passphrase, you're also wrong. It's kind of cool. So when you use hidden passphrases with Treasure, let's say you have one single Treasure device, one little device, and you've got that seed phrase that you've generated. It's on there, and you've stamped that seed phrase on the metal. You've done everything everyone's told you. Stamp it on the metal or whatever. Store that somewhere. Well, what happens when somebody breaks in your house and they find that? They find your stamped steel or whatever it is, stainless steel, and now they take your seed phrase and they go steal all your money. Okay? You're still back to square one. You still had to write that or stamp that seed phrase on something, and if somebody finds that, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Hidden passphrases change the name of that game completely. So what happens is you still stamp it on steel, and you go hide it wherever you're going to hide it. But you also maybe stamp it on steel and you go give it to your mother-in-law or your mother or your brother or whoever, and say, hey, hold on to the seed phrase for me. In case somebody steals this from my house or my house burns down or a tornado takes it away, I still got a copy of it with you. Okay? And what's cool is if anybody takes that seed phrase and plugs it in, maybe there's nothing in there. Because you need both a combination of that seed phrase and some random passphrases you've come up with. And with Treasure, you can have it unlimited, millions of them if you wanted to. Maybe your passphrase is Coca-Cola. It tastes good. Okay. So when you go into Treasure, you plug it in, you go to MetaMask, and it gives you two choices. You go to the hidden passphrase choice, and you say, Coca-Cola tastes good. Okay. It brings you to a set of wallets, and all the sub wallets associated with that passphrase. And maybe you have a different passphrase. The sky is blue. Okay. The sky is blue. Okay. And it brings you to a completely different set of wallets. And all those are like associated with the sky is blue. So if somebody finds your seed phrase, but they don't also know all your different passphrases, they don't have your money.
Yeah.
Right. All they have is a seed phrase, and maybe there's nothing in there, or maybe there's a little bit in there just to trick them or whatever. But they need a combination of both of those things. And you never store those two things together. You never store your passphrases next to your seed phrases. Some people could say you can even store passphrases digitally and seed phrases in a physical form. Separate them across two different kinds of storage. And some, like a lot of people will say that's the ultimate way for security. It's absolutely revolutionary what this does because it's impossible to hack. You need to go collect somebody's seed phrase. You need to go get yourself a treasure. You need to go figure out what their secret passphrases are. You have to know that they have passphrases. You have to assemble all these things back together just to access like one wallet. It makes
it very difficult.
Too hard.
Yeah. So we've got these other products. We've talked about Transformer and Pixel Park. We've got Amplifier, Loan Booster, and Accelerator Yield Compounder. What do they do?
Yeah. So again, any staking platform, typically like you have claimable rewards and they just accumulate until you hit claim. Nothing's happening with rewards until you hit claim. Okay. So your money is actually not getting put to work for you. It's just sitting there. Let's say you're earning USDL or Pulse in liquid loans and you don't hit the claim button for like 6 months. You have 6 months of USDL and Pulse that is doing nothing for you. It's just sitting there accumulating.
Yeah.
But maybe you would have liked to purchase Hex with that. And had you hit the claim button once a day, you would have been putting your money to work for you towards that endeavor of accumulating more Hex sooner than hitting it in big intervals. So what these automatic compounders do is you just tell it ahead of time, these are the parameters. I want to claim at these intervals, and here's what I want to happen with my assets. And it will simply do those things at the intervals that you described. B protocol is the number one used front end for liquidity over on the Ethereum chain. And this is exactly what it does. It simply takes your rewards and it does what you asked it to do. Many people just have it sell or swap the rewards into something else right off the bat. And it just does that automatically for you all the time. So this is a beautiful thing. You don't have to log in and click the button all the time. You just paid the gas, told it ahead of time what you wanted to do with the rewards as often as you wanted to, and it does that. So you'll see that for liquid loans front end. You'll see that's for some other stakeable assets.
And these utilities are really popular for people doing liquidity providing, yield farming, people doing lending protocols like liquid loans and liquidity. These are really, a lot of people chase these because it adds to that yield that you're getting with the compounding. So I think it's going to be pretty popular for sure. Now, the other thing is, of course, we've also got in here the loan booster. That's for liquid loans, right?
Yep.
And the accelerated yield compounder. That's for what's that for?
Like claiming rewards, like from PulseX, for example.
PulseX, for example. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then you've got here the Flex, which is for Hex.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff being built to allow alternatives for Hex. So you've got other protocols that have like staking pools and stuff. This is going to be something very similar, but it's under the PowerCity umbrella.
This one. So what's the order of launch? Do you have an idea of out of all these 5 main products here? There are 1 or 2 that were on the roadmap that are now off the roadmap at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd actually say Pixel Park and the Amplifier Loan Booster with the core, right? Because the core is just where everyone can participate.
These top 3 first. These top 3 first.
Yeah. Because the core is like just where all the fees get fed back to you for people to partake in the fees, right? So that's like the core, right? So it'll be that Pixel Park and the Amplifier. And probably the first things out there.
And how far after Pulsechain, depending on, I guess it just depends on when Pulsechain launches, right?
I'd say the Amplifier Load Booster, if I had to guess, could be out after Liquid Loans launches within weeks, is what I would hope.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is kind of the first wave, and the Transformer cross-chain block swap, is that next or?
So I'd say that would probably be next alongside the accelerator yield compounder. The Flex protocol, there's infrastructure design being done now. So it could actually change. That could be the first thing to launch. But at the moment.
Oh, right. Now, have they considered doing the Flex on ETH first?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, because obviously Maximus is the closest one to this that's already doing it on ETH. So that makes sense. Yeah, okay, so we possibly might hear some news around that. Possibly.
Right.
Yeah.
So so I think the guys are making some new videos that describe how each of these things work. Like when you first look at it, you're like, oh, look at all this stuff going on. Listen, you've got an automatic compounder, you've got a cross-chain swap deal, and you've got like the core, which really isn't that confusing. It's just like, okay, you want to collect the fees, participate in the core. And it's really not as much as people think. So my goal with PowerCity is to just get everybody focused and better understand what's going on. Like it's not as complicated as people think.
Yeah. So what's do you want to talk about your involvement in the PowerCity? Because obviously you're going to be spreading the word about it. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Sure. So I'm a founder.
So a lot of people may not know that, right? A lot of people may not know. I mean, it's on the website. So if people check the website, they can see that. Yeah.
I've been a founder since the beginning, since the last 11 months. Contractually, and because of other obligations, obviously, there's certain things that I couldn't be public about certain things. But I've always been side by side right there with Eric and Adam and Mark, who are all known, as Pulse Jesus, Toshi Flow, and Long Vacation. Listen, I've been, first off, those guys are my friends, and we've been in this together since the beginning. But I had obligations elsewhere, as everyone knows.
Yeah. Well, it is on the website, so people go to see that, they can see, because I actually looked at PowerCity the other day on the website. We got down to there, and I saw you down there under founder, and I go, oh, I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. L7, yeah, you can still stack. Here's the cool thing about their stack. Like, the rate is the same as it's always been. So most stacks like go down like over time until like it's just a horrible rate. And they just
Yeah.
said we're just gonna make it fair forever and we're gonna keep it open until the launch of Pulse, right? So people who are just now learning about what it is, first off, go do your research, go to the Telegram, go ask a bunch of questions. But if you wanted to participate, the rate is no different than it was. In fact, there's bonuses at certain levels, community bonuses, once certain levels are hit. But not saying anybody has to participate. It's everyone's choice. But it's still live.
Sacrifice
It's
there.
literally still live.
So I'll post the link in the chat there if you want to actually get involved. Once again, do your investment due diligence as always. There is the sacrifice link there. Sacrifice is still going. I think it's over 3 million now. Is it about 3.2 mil, somewhere in that ballpark?
Yeah, I'd say about 3.2 or so.
Yeah. I sacrificed a while back, says Charity. Nice one, Charity. Any midnight bonuses, those are fun, says how I made it. To launch a Pulse, yeah. Fantastic. You're welcome there, Tail 7. Sacrifice times are usually over, but by the time most people find out, yeah. So obviously that's going through. Actually, they got the timer on there now. I just see that, but that's actually going through to the end of the thing. So there's 3 components. Currently a 1-to-1 until Pulsechain launches at the moment, and of course you do get a 55% bonus if you've done all these 4 sacrifices: Pulsechain, PulseX, Liquid Lines, Internet Money as a cumulative there, or additive, I should say. And then of course on top of that, there is if they reach Liquid Lines PowerCity reaches a certain level, they have 80 random wallets get bonuses as well. And I think we're up in this area here at the moment. So
right.
So cool.
Also, for those of you who are able to attend, Wednesday, September 7th, 8 p.m., would you like to meet DJ Lethal or the guys from Crystal Method? Because we're going to be downtown on Fremont Street, spreading the word about Pulsechain and PowerCity to all of the people going down Fremont Street in Las Vegas. Okay, and it's going to be a cool little party, but it's really to spread the word about Pulsechain. I think Freddie Quotes is going to be there. Black Crypto, Korean Investor. There's going to be a bunch of people there. So you can come and hang out, meet everyone. Boxable, the folks from Boxable are going to be there too. There's going to be a big taco truck. So some music and spread the word about Pulsechain. Check it out.
So that's this thing here, is it?
Yep.
Cool. So that's definitely up and running. I'll post that in the chat there if people want to check that out.
And DJ Lethal from Limp Bizkit, he will be attending now.
Sweet.
There originally was a conflict. He had like a concert going on somewhere else, but that's canceled or something. So he's going to be there now.
Nice. Charity says, Jesse, I used a pool for sacrifice for liquid loans. Is PowerCity able to see that bonus?
PowerCity with the pool. That's a good question, right? Because there's those bonuses, but I'm gonna have to talk to the guys about that. Does that count?
Yeah.
Let me talk to them.
Tal says, I sacrifice for PLS, PLSX, and liquid loans. Will my PowerCity sacrifice amplify this somehow?
I sacrifice for Pulse, PulseX, and liquid loans. Will my PowerCity sacrifice amplify this somehow? Yes, there is an amplification for participating in other sacrifices.
Which I said is up to 55% if you got all 4 sacrifices. You get a bonus on that. What else have we got going? I think that's probably it. Yeah, cool. Let's jump over to liquid loans. And, of course, we've got this happening. Now, this is going to be, I think, huge. I think PowerCity is going to be huge. I think liquid loans is going to be huge, in my opinion. So you've talked about this many times, of course. But I'm pretty excited about the USDL stablecoin on Pulsechain. Really, this is going to be, I think, have a big impact on DeFi across the chain, and really also, obviously, for Pulse and Hex and other things that people use it for. And of course, also the passive income that people can earn as well. You got much, got some thoughts on that moving forward?
Yeah, so this protocol is beautiful for a number of reasons. One, it's completely community driven. The fees go back to the community, 100% back to the community of stakers of the loan token.
Mm-hmm.
The USDL is always over collateralized. Always. There's always more value in than the value of USDL, which is not what you saw with Luna and UST. You actually ended up seeing fractional reserves. The death spiraled into massive fractional reserves, and that just broke any redeemability. And nobody was willing to buy UST, but everyone was willing to sell it. And it went to zero. But that's not possible in liquid loans, because there's never a point where the value of the collateral that is in these vaults is less than the market cap or the total supply of all the coins that are out there.
Yeah.
It does that with an instant liquidation process, which is awesome, actually. There's multiple staking inside of liquid loans. So you have this stability pool where you can participate in being somebody willing to pay off other people's loans in the event that they're under collateralized. You get a discount from collecting some of their pulse and paying off their loan for them. You're actually getting pulse at a discount, a 10% discount when you do that. But you do it collectively as a community, and it's all done with a smart contract. And that's like this instant liquidation process. But then you also have this loan token that you get through incentives for doing that. And you can go stake those for the fees. When somebody takes a loan, they have to pay a fee. If there's a redemption in the protocol, there's a fee. And all those fees get paid and spread across all the stakers. What you should end up seeing should be pretty cool. If the value of Pulse goes up, the value of loan tokens should go up. Why is that? Because the fees get bigger as the value of Pulse goes up. Why? Because people's loans get bigger. The more Pulse is worth, the bigger the loans end up being. The less Pulse is worth, the smaller the loans end up being.
Yes, this is going to be quite a big advantage over Liquidity, which launched about 5 years after Ethereum. So it was the beginning of last year, was it?
Yeah. So like when they launched, Liquidity launched near the top. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. They launched late in the relatively late in the chain, like 5.5 years later after Ether launched.
Yeah.
They also had, but at the beginning in the first month, was it? They had a big well-known investor, didn't they? Put billions into the platform for a month or two as well. They had a bit of that going on. I can't remember. Was it some people saying the Tron founder? Was it, or somebody like that?
Actually, I heard Justin Sun recently, like just a few months back, right after the UST debacle. Justin Sun was building his stablecoin, but simultaneously he looked at Liquidity and put like a bunch of money into Liquidity, which is unusual. It's unusual, right? Why would this billionaire guy be building his own stablecoin that's modeled a lot like Luna?
The USDD, isn't it? This one? USDD?
Yeah, USDD. Yeah. But then at the same time, he uses his wallet address, and he preserves his wealth over in Liquidity. Well, that's because Liquidity is extremely safe. Like it's literally the safest stablecoin out there. So much so that the Ponzi stablecoin guys put their wealth over in Liquidity when they're like, "Oh crap, I don't want my stuff to go to zero." Like what we saw with UST. Let me store hundreds of millions of dollars over in Liquidity for a minute, right? This literally happened. Why is USD over one LUSD over $1? It's actually simple. There's a cool redemption process that makes it so it can't really go under $1. Like it can go under $1, but then people just they buy it because they can redeem it for $1 worth of ETH inside the protocol. So the act of buying it brings it back up to $1, right? So it always stays like it bounces back to $1 like instantly. But why does it go over $1? Because people are willing. It's so safe. People are willing to pay more for it than like any of the other stable coins, because it's safer than any of the other stable coins.
Yeah, and this is, I think, that in this bear market that we've had, it's shown money will transfer to the better assets, and that's what we've seen with it, and that bodes well for liquid loans in the USDL.
Yeah, the other stable coins, they fall off their pegs. Some of them, there's some that like hover around like 96 cents for like a long time, and everyone goes, "Oh, it'll come back." And I always tell people, listen, that stuff's garbage. Like, look at all the Bitcoin they're trying to sell just to pump back into it, just to bring it back up. I said, that's ridiculous. It's already broken. If a stable coin goes down to like 96 cents and it just bounces around and it's unable to come back, there's something wrong. That means there's not a good redemption mechanism that allows people to buy up the cheap crypto, the cheap stable coin, and redeem it back inside the protocol. If you don't have that mechanism, that's what causes things to fall off a peg. Liquidity has that mechanism. Yeah. And then people love it so much that they buy the price up, and they're willing to pay more than $1 for it to save their $1. They're willing to lose 2 cents on the dot for every $1 that they're able to preserve.
So I see. So obviously, funds have transferred into LUSD because of it's so strong, the model. The other thing, of course, is that it uses ETH as its outsourced security, and of course it's over collateralized too, because you basically liquid loans is a fork of that, right? So fork of Liquidity, and so that's kind of a superior model. The other thing, of course, is I think that liquid loans has a potential couple of advantages over Liquidity because it's launching at the beginning of the chain. Because there's all these strategies running around that I don't recall that you had in Liquidity, like Haunted Strategy and people like that. There's all these strategies running around about how we can push up other assets. I think that's going to be an interesting cultural phenomenon to see whether people follow that through. And obviously, PowerCity's also got some involvement in that with their product.
Right. Yeah, the community is bigger.
Yeah, the community's bigger.
It's like 12 times bigger than the thing that was forked.
Yeah. So there's lots of stuff there. Now we've got this model here of all the different stablecoin models. And it seems to me that this endogenous one, which is the USD, these ones really fail with these endogenous ones where they have they got the Ethereum inside its own platform. They're not using external assets for security like the main chain, like Ethers. So we've got liquid loans and Liquidity in the exogenous one using ETH and PLS as security. That seems just like a total advantage to me.
Well, looking at your chart, okay, so you've got the centralized stuff over on the left, which nobody likes because usually they don't disclose where all their money's at, like what's actually backing any of it. Sometimes they do, but
Circle has monthly reports, right? But that's still not complete. It's still not completely transparent.
Right, but as we hear all the time, they can turn your coins off at any time.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want. It's completely centralized. So, okay. I don't know anything about Project Helvetia.
Well, these are the central bank ones, and I don't like these either because that's even worse than turning stuff off. You starting to get into programmable crypto where they control who can live and die. Who can live and die here? That's kind of where these ones are heading. I don't really like those. So I think these two models in the middle are the weak ones. These are the ones that either they're bad or they're weak, which is this one. And I think these ones here are obviously fairly good if they're backed correctly by one-to-one stables, US dollars, real fiat currency. But these ones here seem to be the ones that are going to thrive in the DeFi. These are the ones that are
Now, but I can actually say some negatives about DAI and Faye.
Yeah.
So DAI is not as decentralized as people think, because now they've introduced USDC as some of the backing. Now, the largest holders inside of the DAI protocol, inside of Maker, are some of the same largest holders that hold the biggest supply of USDC.
Yeah.
So I believe that it was a power play by Circle to own the governance of DAI, to own the governance of Maker, so that they can control, because their biggest competitor was DAI. So by them just saying, well, wait a minute, let's just scoop up a bunch of this DAI, and then we have the governance, and then we'll just insert USDC in there and back it. They now like have all the controlling. They can do anything they want to inside of the Maker protocol. So it's not as decentralized as people think. It's got central ownership with Circle.
You've still got two issues there. Then you've still got centralized ownership. That's a problem. So when you look at a stable, that's a problem. The other thing is you've got to look at the makeup of the asset that's backing the security, and of course that means liquidity and liquid lines is actually the superior model, because the contracts running the game, and of course demand and supply running the game,
right?
And then of course the asset itself is possibly outside of fiat the best asset, because it's the native token of the chain, and the chains are big, right? That's kind of
a couple more points about DAI though. Yeah. There's a 6-hour liquidation process. It's a liquidation auction that ends up happening.
Sure.
Because of this, your collateral ratio has to be, I think it's at like 130 or maybe even 150%. What does this mean? This means that if you are liquidated, you lose not just your money, but you lose an extra 50% on top of that. So if you took $1,000 loan, for example, well, you would lose $1,500 if you were liquidated. That's ridiculous. But they have to have that collateral ratio. So ridiculous because of how long it takes them to settle a liquidation, because it's an auction process. Liquidity said, you know what, that's broken, that's screwed up. It actually gives the ability for the collateral value to potentially, if there's a sharp crash in ETH, to fall underneath of the value of all the DAI out there. So let's just get away from all that and instead have an instant settlement process with this thing we call the stability pool. And also in doing so, you make it so people's collateral ratios only have to be at 110%. So if somebody is liquidated, they only lose the value they already got.
Yeah.
They're already running around with plus a 10%. And it makes it much safer for everybody.
Yeah.
DAI, listen, I used to be a fan of DAI, but once I really started digging into like how it worked and like the mechanics of it, I said, you know what, this isn't anything compared to liquidity. Now Faye's broken too, by the way. Faye just dumps liquidations on Uniswap and it just cascades to liquidations.
Right.
And then for Frax, Frax uses the fees to try and stabilize the price. They don't have with LUSD and USDL, the fees go back to all the users. Like the fees don't get used to try and peg the price back to $1. That's just stupid.
Well, that's definitely separating out with even within this model, the quality ones really getting to the top. This kind of becoming the ultimate model from the looks of it.
Yeah. And people
so
almost
need to break this down. Almost need to break this down into two different camps here. This diagram and separate those out. So yeah.
Just listen, just put all those stable coins on one side and just call them, bad stables, and just put USDL and put LUSD as well. Put them over on the other side and say, good ones.
Good one. Yeah. We like it a lot. All All right, so that's cool. That's cool. And the other side, of course, is the role of USDL and DeFi on Pulsechains is going to be huge in my view. You got many thoughts on that?
Yeah, like so it almost has to be huge because there's nothing else.
Yeah, what else is there in terms of a native
What else is there?
stablecoin
Like
on Pulsechain?
you can bridge something in.
Mm.
Now, do you like the counterparty risk and the centralization of USDC? And then are you going to combine that with the bridge risk of having it be a bridged and then a wrapped USDC that's on the chain?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that what you prefer? Or do you prefer something that your fellow community members have created or minted and starts to flood the market with? Do you prefer that? And with better liquidation, better redeemability and stuff, I think people are going to prefer USDL.
Yeah. Now we've got a couple of questions in here. Yeah, I honestly see USDL gonna start. I see it gonna start taking over some of the market share from the bridged over coins, and of course I see it flooding through a lot of peers. Obviously, going to be shared on a lot of other DeFi platforms,
Yeah,
like Fiat and stuff like that.
Like Fiat, like PowerCity is gonna, has the whole section of PowerCity that's dealing with liquid loan stuff.
Yeah.
I think Internet Money's a fan of it. Like all these protocols need to get their tokens on liquidity pools in PulseX, and a lot of them are looking at USDL because it just makes sense.
Yeah. Now Mix has got here. How do we feel about TUSD?
I actually love it. Now it is centralized. All right, but it's really cool how it works. You create an account with True, and you wire money from your bank account to a bank account that you create with True. And when your money hits, behind the scenes, their process will take that money that you wired in and mint you straight to a wallet address of your choice, TUSD. It just shows up. The only thing you had to do was wire to your special bank account. So if you're like, oh man, I need some more crypto today, you just wire to your bank account at True, and you just wait. In a few hours, half a day later, or whatever, you notice, oh sweet, my MetaMask address just got some TUSD in it, the same exact quantity that you had wired in.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's the same way on the way out. So when you send TUSD from your DeFi wallet back to the True platform, that's it. That's all you had to do is send it back. They take care of the rest. That ends up burning itself really behind the scenes. And then they just reach into their bank and they withdraw fiat and send that to your bank account of choice via an escrow payment. So your bank account will simply display. It looks like a real estate transaction is what just happened. And it's really neat. It's so simple, but it is centralized. But if I had to pick between USDC and TUSD, it would probably be TUSD. You could argue that the liquidity is not as high, so there's more slippage, but it's okay. Go use Curve. Anytime you're dealing with stablecoin stuff, go do all your swapping of stablecoin stuff on Curve, and the slippage is so small it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, there's an alpha tip for you. There's an alpha tip there. Hey, we got Stephen. We did cover this earlier, but Jesse's how have the oracles come along? We did cover this, but you might as well give it a quick.
Yeah, so there's an oracle with all their nodes running right now, and that is an official partnership with Liquid Loans. That's not being announced who that is yet. There's likely strategic reasons for that, because the only other people that need to use those same oracles would be anything that's a competition, right? Another stablecoin or somebody who tries to spool up another similar lending platform or something, right? So why would you tell everyone? Why would you tell everybody ahead of time who that is? But I will say it is up and running and it's working.
Cool. Yeah, your video's
Oh,
frozen.
minus that Pulse is not on an exchange.
That's true.
If you don't know how that works, Oracle's actually pull the price feeds from exchanges. So until mainnet is live, you can have all these oracles, but like you can't actually have a price pulling from them because test Pulse does not exist on any exchanges.
Now this is a really big deal. If you're new to crypto, this is actually a very important part that we need on the Pulsechain, is to have these Oracle price feeds, and for DeFi projects to be able to do that. So yeah, feel free to pop back in, Jesse, if you want to reset your video.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's better. Now, a Satan Angel says, "What is the heart stable?" Now, Richard's talked about. I put this in here because Richard's talked about stable coins. He doing his own stable coin, and he actually made a comment once that he preferred a fiat-backed stable coin. Do you recall that, Jesse?
I do.
Yeah, and so that's why I put the heart stable here for that reason.
It's interesting because he spends a lot of time talking about decentralization and getting away from banks and putting down all these commercialized stable coins. But then he says he prefers a fiat-backed one. So that's extreme centralization at its worst, right? So
he may change his mind on that.
I don't know that he's actually like how far he's actually going to take that. We shall see.
I agree with you on that, and we know that he's obviously doing the wallet and the vertical integration tweet he did the other day.
And he didn't mention a single thing about a stablecoin.
Stablecoin, yeah. So I agree with you on that. So let me just jump back to this screen here. Bam. We've got a couple more questions, and we'll probably jump through these. Bob Wells says this video is a clipper. Nice one there, Bob. What else there? What Yolissa says, let's hear our song, Jess. I'm not sure what that means. I can't even click on the thing.
Oh, the Liquid Loan song.
That's like the same song. So smash the likes. Smash. Is this where you play it on the guitar? Is that something you play on the guitar?
Yeah, remember that Liquid Loans guitar song I used to do?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Going back in the time there. We need a PowerCity song too, says Yolissa. There we are. So there's something. Right. We'll look forward to it. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. What else we got going here? I'm just going to jump through. Sorry if I haven't addressed your question. I'm just trying to jump through some of these just to do 55 bonus. Jesse, do you get a 55% bonus every time you sacrifice? Yeah, that was asked earlier. If you sacrifice, you'll get a bonus on your base amount that you sacrifice for. That's just pretty much how it's going to work, right? So you can top up all the time with the sacrifice there. PowerCity has the best tunes, says Mix.
Yeah, of course. And listen, we're all friends with DJ Lethal.
Yeah.
And he knows how to make some tunes. I think he's been bugged. Hey, you need to make a special song just for PowerCity. I don't think he's taken us up on that yet.
Prasad says, I wish I had Jesse's girl, says Prasad. That's pretty funny. I wish I had Jesse's girl. Dun, 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 dun. I love that. All right, that's awesome. Now, lots are coming up. Anything? We're up to an hour and 10 minutes. Anything else you want to drop about anything else that's going on at the moment? That's
no. I think that's it. I think we covered a bunch of stuff. For those of you who are supporters of Liquid Loans, thank you. It's going to be an amazing protocol. I am still intimately involved, meaning I love the protocol. I still talk to Dave and Christian. I'm still a bit behind the scenes. It's just I'm spreading my wings. We got other stuff to do. We got to bring mass adoption to the chain. So all that drama you see out there, it's all just noise. Those are the same people that were the hardcore maxis that hated everything else from the beginning already. All right, it's all noise. Time to get back to work and do some things and grow the chain.
Yeah. Peter Green says, can you store sacrifice for liquid loans? We did cover that earlier. It's in the chat. You can. The link is in the chat up above you. Thank you, Jesse, for what you do for the community. Yeah, and that's what I probably want to end up too. Jesse, you're doing absolutely been incredible, and it's been a real privilege having you in the chat. We look forward to all the cool work you're going to do in the future as well. So, big shout out. So thanks very much.
Yep.
And
thanks for having me on.
Look forward to talking to you again sometime in the future. Woohoo! Peace.
Cool.
All right, take care. See ya. Now, we're going to get into a few things in the marketplace at the moment. So we're going to jump through that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that special interview with Jesse. That was pretty cool. We're going to have a look, as usual, in the market. So we're going to have quite a bit of a live stream here. We're going to go through probably a lot of this in 20 minutes. This is kind of part 2. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks, Jess. And no, please do not sack for liquid loan, says Mix. Liquid loan sack close, says Ulysses. No, it's open. Thanks, Uncle Jesse. And thanks, Jesse Satan. Nice one. Well done. Yeah, it was really great. All right. So hopefully that cleared up a lot of things for people too. And you learned a lot as well. It was pretty cool. Now we're going to jump into the market at the moment. PowerCity Sacrifice is still going. Sandy Beach is correct. The link is in the video, the chat above. All right, cool. So at the moment, we've got the Dow, the markets at the moment. And of course, they closed what day is it? The closing day for the week. And the title is Dow in best month since 2020 as big tech powers ahead. So far, this is kind of, we're lucky to be in this situation at the moment. So I think that's pretty cool for crypto too. Obviously, the Dow Jones, the top 30 industrials, up 315 points yesterday for Friday. And man, oh man, isn't that cool? Is it Friday? I'm pretty sure Saturday, Thursday. Is it Thursday? Maybe it's Thursday. No, it's either Friday tomorrow. Yeah, so this Friday's results. And of course, up 1%. The S&P up 57 points to 4,130, up 1.4%. NASDAQ up 228 points, almost 2%, up to 12,390. The VIX down 5%. Which is pretty cool. Risk off, risk on, and we like risk on. It's good for stocks, good for crypto. The dollar index also down versus the trading partners as well. That bodes well too. Oil up though. Oil up to $104 on Brent oil. They're up $2, up 2%. West Texas up 2% by almost $2 as well. Gold up $13 to $176, almost 1%. And silver up over $20 for silver, and of course up 2% there as well. Up 46%, so that's a pretty decent move for silver. And of course, soybean still rising there too, up 2%. So some interesting stuff there. Some of the top comments, of course, here, the Dow rallied Friday as stocks delivered their best month in more than a year as a resurgence in big tech followed better than feared earnings. They actually did better. Probably well over 75% did favorable earnings, something like that. And of course, expectations for a less triggy-happy Federal Reserve lifted investor sentiment. Now we all still got a 75 basis points rise. Our next meeting is in September. That gives us probably a window of 4 to 6 weeks, probably 4 or 5 weeks before we have to have the Fed come up again. That gives a bit of chance for stocks and crypto to breathe. We do have consumption and capital expenditure coming up around the 10th of August. So we do have those things to take into account, but so far so good. I think we're lucky to be in this situation, to be honest, at the moment. Rising oil prices also supported sentiment on energy stocks on bets that the major oil producers are unlikely to decide to boost output when they meet next week. Now, why would they? Their cost of production is really low. The prices are really high. They're killing it, making tons of money, particularly in the Middle East and other places like that. So why would they? Why would they? And of course, we saw the Biden administration go to Saudi. They weren't going to be playing books. They had no, and why would they do it? They're making so much money. So that's not going to happen. The resurgence in techs has coincided with the growing expectation the Fed Reserve will be forced to rein in rate hikes as the economy continues to take a hit from inflation. Now, this is the scenario we've got at the moment, but of course, in the future, this could all switch around. So 2 months, 2 months time, where this could all switch around, and of course, we could have the Fed saying, no, we can actually chase 8-9% inflation if it stays high. We will chase it And of course, obviously with the pullback in oil, we'll be watching that pretty closely. But we're going to chase the inflation rate. If that is true, they will, instead of having a soft landing, we will have a hard landing. So we've got all that's coming up. We're not out of the woods yet, but at the moment, it's looking way better than we would have expected at this stage. So it's very positive. But data showing that personal consumption expenditures price index rose by more than expected 6.8% to a fresh 40-year high. High flags the risk of higher for long inflation and could undermine the Fed's dovish tone. And this is exactly what I've been saying. But at the moment, we're going to enjoy it while we last. And I think we've got a nice little window for at least 4 to 5 weeks. The Fed earlier this week indicated that it could slow the pace of tightening after September to reassess the impact of rate hikes on the economy and inflation. And we may get a pause there as well. So cool. Now, typically, if you're going to deal with high inflation, you want to get the interest rates up really high, chase that down, which actually is super damaging to the economy, consumption, capital expenditure, etc. So we'll see how that goes. So far, so good. I think we're lucky to be here. Let's jump onto the crypto markets. Woohoo! And of course, look at the BTC here, 23,856. Looking good here. Can it get up to 27, 28,000? We'll be watching that pretty carefully. At the moment, Ethereum up at 12.30, up 0.16%, and BNB at $295, up 6%. BNB looking really good there. Pretty crazy stuff. Let's jump into the chart quickly. We can see, we're up pretty much near the highs here. Nice little rally here from 20,000. We've added on $3,000 here. Pretty crazy in the last month, or in the last day or so. So where we're up here, 20. Sorry, is it last day? I think so. Is it really? We're down, 23,500. We have been as high as 24,000. So we have hit 24 a couple of times early in the day. We're up at 24,300. So looking pretty good. Of course, the next move, I think, is, got to get up to that 28,500, somewhere like that, if it's going to get really bullish to attack the 30,000. If it does, that'd be quite something not expected, right? So I still think we're going to have a long tail. I think we're going to have volatility like this. I think we're going to have a long tail down, and I still think that Richard Art's call is probably more likely than not in terms of getting down to 10,600, 11,000. So I just think we've got a long tail to get there. That will most likely play out, in my opinion. We'll keep seeing how that goes. All right, let's have a look here. What else we got there? Liquid Loan Sac is closed. PowerCity is did I say Liquid Loans? No, I meant PowerCity. So Liquid Loans is closed, yeah. So that was just a confusion there. I apologize for that. PowerCity is open. Liquid Loans is closed, yeah. He asked if Liquid Loans Sac needs to open, yeah. I was wrong about that, so I just misread that. Magic Carpet Ride, yo family. Good morning, MRC. No, Liquid Loans, yes, PC, yeah. Sorry, just cross confusion there. What else there? How Matt says Kamala Harris gives the best speeches. Clips alpha. Yeah, true that. What's the website? Says Joe O'Brien. I'm not sure which. Are you talking about PowerCity? We did post that in the links in the video in the chat earlier. And I'm not sure if I've got them open. Let me just go to, if you're after PowerCity Sacrifice, let me pull that up. And boom. Let's just quickly post that in there. PowerCity, and that is the website. Here is the sacrifice. Bam, that is PowerCity. If you want to sacrifice for that, PowerCity. Bam, there it is. All right. So I think I've answered a few people's questions there. Yeah, and Liquid Loans is closed. That was closed a long time ago as well. $51.6 million raised for the Liquid Loans. It was pretty big. All right, that is the website too for PowerCity. If you want that, that is PowerCity's website. Bam. All right, cool. Here we are. That's one. All right, so cool. That is pretty much it. So the market's looking really good. Hex at the moment, man, teasing us here, just slowly grinding its way up, isn't it? It's slowly grinding. No giant green candles, but it's just slowly grinding its way up. Looking bullish on the chart, though. This chart looks pretty healthy. And of course, we've got kind of this relatively shallow rise. No big giant, 10-cent day candles. We've only had a couple of those, but we're not getting anything like that. Not even close to that, but just slowly grinding its way up. Currently, just sitting at this 5-cent mark. As I said to you, I think it's important that it gets to 6.2 cents. That's where I think it needs to get to, and then stabilize there. So think that's kind of where we are at this stage. Let's have a look into Hex, and of course, see what it would take us to get to 6.2 cents. I'm going to put 950,000. And that would get us to 6 cents. So $950,000 net buying would get us to 6 cents at the moment. So that's kind of where we're at. We, until we move up here, that's what we need to get to 6 cents. But I do think we need to get to 6.2. And that would mean that we need, probably 1.1 million. That would get us to 6.2. We don't even need quite that much. So 0.50, that would get us to 6.2. So we need $1,050,000 net buying there to do that. So that's kind of where we're looking. Charts looking really good though. And of course, obviously the market's looking good. We've got the top of the Bollinger Band at 4.98 cents, the bottom at 3.3. The red line in the middle is the 50% price range mark. That's at 4 cents now. So we've crossed over 4 cents, almost 4.1. It's 4.4. Sorry, 4.1. And then, of course, the EMA, the 13, the yellow line there, the exponential moving average is at 4.4 cents. Now, obviously, this was our crossover. And, of course, we had a tightening Bollinger Band, both of those bullish signals. And away we went for a trend reversal. And that's what we got. And it's fairly shallow. It's not like steep. This is steeper, this one here. And there's certainly steeper ones back in the past. This was more of a shallow one here, but nice and just sort of step. But really, it does need, in my opinion, to get past this mark here, these marks. So obviously past this point, but this point, that would get us to 6.2 up here. So we're up here, 6.2. That'd be pretty nice. And then consolidate. We could consolidate in that kind of range would be quite nice. Just for a day or two. And then we can, or maybe a couple of days and then re-go. But of course, I'm pretty bullish about August, right? You guys know that. We've got the Maximus and Icosa expected. A very good chance that they'll launch in August. Obviously, Icosa is in public test network. And of course, we're going to talk about that as well. So just stay tuned. Now, here is Hex versus BDC. Now, Hex versus BDC, the community yesterday has gone up. So you had this red candle yesterday, Hex versus BDC. And of course, we're up in the green here. And of course, we were under 200,000 yesterday. We're 205,000 today on here. So that's really cool versus Bitcoin. So very cool. All right. So we're going to jump away from that. Actually, we'll go back to the DMI and have a quick look at that. Here is the buyers here. So a little tip down the buyers, but the sellers really waning off there. And of course, our momentum is now confirmed. We've got a confirmed trend today as the first day here on the chart. So we've crossed over 25 with the yellow line. So confirmed trend here, looking good. And the RSI still got a bit of room. So we're still at 64. Still got a bit of room here, even if we zigzag here a little bit, and still got a nice little bit of room to move higher to that 6.2 cents if we wanted to. So we'll see how we get on. All right, cool. And of course, looking nice, very nice. And we've got actually this EMA 13 and the 50% Bollinger Band is actually widened as well. And that's pretty cool. So that's kind of the markets there for Hex. And of course, we got this little tweet here from Rack and Rochelle. I thought that was pretty interesting. Predictions from our Hexicans. Where are we heading today? Price action wise, Hex, PLS, who gets predictive accuracy bragging rights? So I thought that was pretty interesting from him. It was sitting at 4.9 cents at the time. And of course, you can see people responding to that just up and to the right. It's most people up and to the right. My man says Rackham. Yeah. Just a 5.5, then a battle. So 5.5 cents. If it breaks 5.5, then 6 to 7 cents could happen. And I would probably agree with that too. 5.4, some dude says. So really, I think we have to smash past all of that to 6.2. I think the charts kind of seem self-evident there for that. So yeah, because we got this sort of level. We're going to get past this and this. This is really weak, but I think that's kind of where we want to get to. All right, so that's from Rack and Rochelle there. Very cool. Let's have a look at the quad charts. Of course, we got the Hex charts, the BNB memes, and the airdrops. And of course, here we are. We've got Hedron here at 904. Can you believe it? 904 on Hedron. Pretty cool. Hex reverts in the house there. More power, baby. More power, baby. Good to see some of the PowerCity team jump in there. Very cool to see her. And of course, you can all rewind back to see Jesse in the house there. I really do appreciate Jesse coming in. And we covered lots of different topics as well. So it was really cool. Dang, Miss Jessie, I think liquid loans will be huge, says Davis. I think so. It's going to be huge too. I'm very bullish about it. Did you watch The Grey Man? It's like John Wick. Yeah, I saw that, How I Made It. I did enjoy it quite a bit. Dave says Mt. Gox. Yeah, well, my view about Mt. Gox is that it's going to be distributed over a period of time. I don't expect to see particularly big dumps. We might get incremental dumps, but no, not the whole thing going. That's my view on that. And they have made an article about that, talking about that, so how they're going to do it. I might actually cover that in another video, Davis. Big shout out to you, Hex Token channel member. Yeah. Sandy Beach, hey, another Hex Token channel member. Thank you. Hey, Ty. Yes, there's Sandy Beach. Nice. All right, so let's get it. We've got Hedron here at the moment. That is looking pretty good. And of course, Icosa has come out with the second version. Now, yesterday in our second live stream, we went through all the Pulsechain dApps that are kind of, pretty decent ones. And of course, they're coming on the Pulsechain. And of course, here we are with a Hedron here lifting back up. And of course, this 1000 has been rejected twice here, almost the third time, but it's still got an uptrend. So it might actually attack it there and get up over this 1000 and get some support. That'd be pretty bullish for Hedron. Obviously, Icosa is coming up. And of course, 5 hours ago, Alex pointed out here, Icosa testnet version 2 has been released. So this was after I did version 1 yesterday on our live stream. Icosa app, you can trade your V1 Icosa for V2 Icosa on the bottom of the Icosa app. The old V1 app has been moved to old app.icosa Pro. V2 has the data scaling set, the same as real launch. Woohoo! So bullish there. Of course, public test network audits, of course, finding things up, then audit the contracts, and then launch, set a launch date and launch with the minting phase. I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how popular this is. I think it's going to be very popular. There are 4 main components, of course, to this, of course, and I do have that on. I'll post this link here if you want to get hold of this. So let me copy that into the chat. Satan Angel says, I don't think Mt. Gox is anything to worry about. Yeah, I'm not in that camp either. Particularly the way I read the article some time ago with the breakdown of how they're going to do it. That wasn't of particular concern. Let me post this. So Icosa DApp 2 on PC testnet. That is there. That's the tweet. So if you want to go check that out, bam. And I think I pull that up. I think I might have pulled that up. Or did I? No, I didn't. So that is the DApp there. This is the version 2. I haven't actually logged onto this. Let me just log onto this quickly. Test the wallets. And hopefully I'm on the right chain there. All right, so cool. We can see that's reading my HSI stake, my native stake. This is not an HSI stake made on Hedron, but this is made through go.hex.com. And of course, we've got the Hedron there. That still is not yet being done. That's to read your Hedron stakes from the Hedron DApp. And then the Icosa, this is the main page that you're looking at for the testnet. And of course, here we are. So cool. What else we got here? Okay, so my Hedron is liquid now. I had it in the previous stake, so all of my stuff that I had staked on version 1 is gone. Of course, this is version 2, so I'd have to redo everything. Exchange Icosa for there, so I could actually do that now. I'm not sure what I've got in there. What have I got? Icosa? I've got no Icosa there at the moment, so that just seems the way it is. It's probably in my wallet actually. Let me have a look at my wallet and see what I've got in there. In terms of Icosa, I've got Icosa in there. I can't see it. Maybe I'll have to work all that out. So I might do that for the second live stream and we'll have a look at that. So I'll sort that out and we'll talk about that in the second live stream later on today in about 4.5 hours time. So we're going to jump away from that. And of course, we've got, we're going to cover the Pulse Dodge in a second, but let's go back into Maximus. Maximus has been like a boss, of course. Really enjoying Maximus. And of course, Maximus and Icosa for me is going to be super bullish, potentially, and probably very likely an August launch, maybe second half of August, but certainly August is looking bullish for Hex from that point of view. 9.4 cents is the current price. And of course, the premium is what we're really looking at because the premium of this product over Hex. Now, this is a big stake pool, number 30, biggest staked in the Hex ecosystem. Currently at an 88% premium, almost 89% premium over Hex. And of course, still recovering really from this big whale sale, a week ago or so on the 21st. So where 2 million maxi was sold. Now, the other thing, of course, is this has got 4 products coming out with the 4 perpetuals. They're going to require Hex. So they're going to take Hex off the market from the circulating supply. Also, potentially put some amount of that Hex that's going into the perpetuals will come from the market, no doubt. So what those amounts are, what the percentages between them is unknown. We will find out. The market will decide. But obviously, the 4 perpetuals really get the most out of them if they hit the bigger pays better amount. That would be 150 million for each of them. So that's 600 million. That would be massive for perpetuals, massive for Hex, of course. And that makes it, kind of bullish all around. The other thing, of course, is that there's also the team token. The team token is a one-off sort of a DAO token for the whole Maximus ecosystem. And of course, that requires Maxi. So this can reduce the Maxi supply from 294.3 million Maxi down to who knows what, question mark. We will find out. But of course, that is bullish for Maxi as well. And of course, 30% of that's going to be burned. Some of it's 30% is going to a 3.69 benefit. And of course, 50% of the bigger pays better bonus from the perpetuals are going to be going into the Maximus, as well as potentially future products as well. There's also the mystery box too. So it's going to be fun to see how that all plays out. Bullish for that. And of course, we'll wait for more news from the Maximus team around a public testnet there, for example. But at this stage, the code's been written. Private test network has been done. The UI has been done, and I believe it's in private test network at the moment. That's kind of where that is. So it's just sitting just behind the Icosa in terms of the Icosa is already a public test network. So exciting to see that. That's my latest knowledge on those 2 projects. So looking good for Hex for August, and of course Hex at the moment just etching its way up high here. So we could see some really exciting things in as well. So if they do launch and they are successful, I could see us getting quite comfortably back in the 10 to 15 cent range for X. If these weren't around, I would not say anything like that. I would just say, well, we're just going to mull around until we slowly creep up over time. And then maybe some whale decides to increase the position or this or that. So there's lots of different variables that are in that play. All right, so at the moment, obviously not investment advice, just my own opinions. Just remember that. All right, so we've got, we're going to jump out of there and go and look at the BNB coins just quickly. And Pulse BNB up, of course. BNB is up, so let me just go back to BNB. BNB, we love BNB. Let me just get out of this comment here. I always leave it on a big comment, which is a shame. 295 is we're up to $295, up 6% on BNB, and so really have to beat out 6%, right, on these tokens here. So PulseDoge, the original on BNB, has outdone that. It's up 14.6%, and it's almost at 4/10 of a penny here. You can see the little green there. That's not too bad. P33, disappointing performance at the moment, given the fact that it's related to free Pulse and hot Pulse list and all the rest of the ecosystems, about 6 products, I think, at the moment. That's currently at 10.3 cents, not really performing at this stage. And of course, we have had some light here on Internet Money, which is with KG, we all know. And of course, they have the WD token and the Internet Money wallet coming up, and they've got a big team building that out. So that's going to be fun to see. And of course, this has actually made a bit of a recovery here up to 1376. So looking much better on this chart. And of course, they have been giving IM giveaways. Many of you have received it, and myself included. So that's pretty cool. All right, the airdrops, let's get on to it. Woohoo! Let's get on. We love airdrops in the Hex Pulsechain community. And of course, how many other communities have all these airdrops coming to you? That's just another big perk to the ecosystem. Pretty exciting. We just get more and more of them. It's just fantastic. Let's have a look at the weight token at the moment. The weight token is currently at just under 6/10 of a penny. It's got a higher low, but they're kind of mulling around here at the moment. And of course, not many people have actually claimed this. Most people are just waiting at this stage. And of course, the more you wait, the more weight tokens you get. Pretty much that. Now, obviously, the big news, of course, is the PLSD. Now, I actually thought this was going to close overnight on PulseDogecoin, and no, but the uptrend's looking beautiful here. Look at this uptrend. Still looking like a boss here. The plane with Wolverine in it is still flying up and to the right, and so far so good. So cool. Hasn't blown away quite at the stage, but of course there was an extension on the time frame, which is kind of weird. And I'm just trying to make sure I've got that here. So this was here. This is the last couple of updates from the PulseDoge Hex.info site. and I'll post that in the chat there if you want to check this out too. PLSD. Now, this is still claimable. I don't know whether it was to do with the contract, the way the contract was set up, but it's still claimable as well. We've got a couple other comments in the chat. Let me just get to those first there. Many weak hands already sold their claim on PulseDogecoin. True. Can't wait for PowerCity outro tune, says Mix. Yeah, true that. Also in the house. Hello, everybody. Good to see you in the house. What else we got there? Got a couple other comments here. Jean and Boxer is in the house. Hi, man. The SEC is trying to list XRP as a security. If they do, ETH might be considered also a security. That might be a concern for Hex and Pulse. Your thoughts? Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. Hex, not so much for Hex. Hex is decentralized. I think that's going to be fine. It's external to the US. Pulse potentially also external to the US. So maybe people in the United States might be affected, but globally that should be perfectly fine. What is that? More power, because you got to remember that we live largely in the decentralized land, so we're not in centralized exchanges. What else? Yeah, I mean, the SEC, as far as I know, doesn't have the power to affect the internet nodes in the United States. So yeah, that's kind of where I would feel about that. That's why we always talk about decentralized world. We're much more free in decentralized world. More power in the house is mixed. And of course, Richard has been careful to work around the Howey test as well. So he would probably, there's potentially challenged on that basis as well. Magic Carpet Ride with the lightning. I love that. Good to see a Magic Carpet Ride. Big shout out to you guys. Love what you guys do. What's up, guys? Toshi Flow. Woohoo! PowerCity. Hey, it's good to see everyone else in the house from the PowerCity team. Big shout out. More power, baby. More power. And yeah, everyone's in here. PowerCity, you late pleb. Yeah, true that. Satan's in the house there. Wow, the house full. Yeah, good to see it all. Yeah, we've got all the PowerCity team in. Of course, Jesse's already been on, but it's great to see them in the chat for sure. I'm hoping to have you guys on the channel coming up with all the latest updates as well, in addition to Jesse. So remember to hit me up on that. It'd be great to have you guys on. Like I said, I think PowerCity is going to be one of the top utilities on the Pulsechain, and Pulsechain needs lots of utilities to flourish, as we talked about, across swaps and all sorts of stuff. It's going to be absolutely amazing, and we look forward to it. Better late than never. Yeah. DB Cooper in the house. Hey, DB Cooper. KDP as well. Woohoo! And Hex Reverts. Holy sheep. Yeah. What else have we got there? I'm waiting, for weight tokens at Sandy Beach. Aussie says Magic Up right. Oi. Aussie. Oi. Aussie. Oi. Aussie. Aussie. Oi. That's how we go. That's how we roll down under. There is a Kiwi one as well, by the way, but I can't remember how it goes. What else there? Crypto guy. Hey, what's up, guys? Fun-filled crowd tonight. Is it morning? It's morning my time, although it's actually afternoon. We're actually way over today. We will get to the Hex Daily Stats soon. I claim weight sold all of it for Hex. No regrets as DB. Nice work. And I think that PowerCity is awesome project, says Sandy Beach. Absolutely. PowerCity, exciting times ahead. Yeah, true that. All right, so PulseDogecoin here. Thank you and congratulations to all the Hexans that claimed your free pulse. I should correct that you have until the current day equals 101, current day 100, which means you still have a bit more than 23 hours to claim if you have not claimed. So there was a bit of an extension there. Not sure what happened with the clock on the website. So obviously slightly out there. And of course, that was 10 hours ago. So that's good if you thought that it was over. I thought it was going to be over when I woke up, but it was still going. I thought we have less than 24 hours left for the claim phase. I would like to officially share something cool with you. Behold, a Pulse_Bitcoin. So we obviously talked about yesterday. Was it 2 days ago? No, was it? Yeah, 2 days ago with Wolverine Gunther, #Gunther, about a secondary token option for the staking. No official release date will ever be given publicly, and you should always have no expectations of profits. Make sure you follow Pulse Bitcoin, and I think we did do that. I have followed that, so that looks like it's going to be possibly the staking token there as well. It's already got 530 followers, so we'll look forward to hearing from them. There's no post there other than the site there, so that's pretty interesting. I'll post that in the chat there if you want to follow them if you are involved with PulseDogecoin. J Rasenhouse there. Good morning, evening, afternoon, says J Ra. That's probably very appropriate, J Ra. PowerCity is cool, says DB. And there is the Pulse Bitcoin. This looks like the second token in the ecosystem for PulseDogecoin. They are looking to introduce staking and deflation, so probably not surprises there. Hexagons, you have 1 hour left to claim your free pulse. This was 12 hours ago. That didn't turn out to be correct, it seems. If it wasn't clear, if you want Pulse Bitcoin, you need PulseDogecoin. So if you want Pulse Bitcoin, you're going to need PulseDogecoin. So Hexagons keep winning. So here they're trying to introduce that scarcity, that secondary tokenomics type of setup here. We Hexagons will take over all crypto narratives and bring them to Pulsechain. And I think that was it on there. So that's the latest updates. That's the new token from looks at Pulse Bitcoin. We'll be watching it pretty closely. This is the timer. Has the timer been updated again? So we're obviously 1 day extension. There's 12 hours and 48 minutes to go. So if you did think that you missed out, you are lucky. It is still going there with the PulseDogecoin. Now, so obviously we've been covering that fairly closely as we do try and cover, any what looks like decent airdrops to Pulsechans and Hexagons. So no surprises there. I watched the PLS countdown. I thought it was a wrap also. Oh, well, yeah. It's still going for a little bit longer, 12 hours and 48 minutes. So cool. All right. So finally, of course, David Lynn and the interview with Richard Hart came out. Pretty cool. And, of course, they actually haven't posted on the site, but it is out, and I did post it earlier on the channel there. I think you can go to Kitco News, and it will be up and running. So here is part 1. And then part 2. I haven't watched part 2. I've only watched just little snippets, little slurs, but there it is on the site there. Let's see if we can get these things to over 1 million views. We did 300,000 last year. So definitely if we can get to share this around and get it over to 1 million views would be absolutely awesome. So part 2. Definitely share that out. So this is a great opportunity when we get awesome stuff like Fox Business News or Kitco News or CNBC or wherever else comes up. It's a great platforms to share those around and get the word out about Pulsechain and Hex. How much Pulse Dodge do you get per stake? It is on the website, so you can check out the website. We have covered that many times, but basically, how much do you get per the stake, did you say? Per stake, no one knows. No one knows anything about the staking there, Love Rich. No one knows anything about the staking. You just have to follow Pulse Bitcoin and you'll be able to get an update on that. So cool. This is Scott Richards here, so definitely check it out. There it is. I'm going to watch it after this live stream, and I'll probably get any feedback on that later on. Hex daily stats are out. Woohoo! Day 970, man. This came out about almost an hour ago now, but almost hot off the press. Not quite. Maybe warm off the press. Is that close enough? Warm off the press. Yeah, so cool. There is the Kitco News. This is our last item for the live stream at now 43. Wicked. And also, it was so cool having Jesse on. It really was cool. Been meaning to have him on for some time. So 29th of July there. We're up 3.6% at 4.944 is the price snapshot there. We've got a payout of Hex per T-share, 6.148. The T-share price now $1,140. T-share rate up 5.2 to 23.058. Average staking length 6.52 years, 38% APY. Liquidity in the pool, woohoo, down from 158 to 146 million. That's some pretty cool stuff there. Maybe been some liquidity moving around there too, possibly. But that's looking good. Getting scarcer. That's what we love. And of course, with Maximus and Icosa coming up, and if a certain percentage of that goes to buy on the market because they don't have it in their liquid wallets or have staking matures or anything like that, then bullish for Hex in August is my view. Obviously, looking good so far with the progress those two teams are making. So bullish on that. Obviously, you wait for the official launch dates, but that's kind of my projection at this stage. T-shares down to 4,600. So we had 3 decreases last couple of days. So we're down at 10,441,160 T-shares. Remember, Hex is quite simple to understand. We have a reward pool with inflation and penalties. We have an ownership pool with T-shares, and T-shares stands for trillions of shares. If you own a T-share, you own part of that reward pool. That's it. That's Hex. And of course, over time, we suspect the T-shares will go down because the T-share rate is going up, and even with demand, and then of course the reward pool will get even more juicy. We expect currently 6.12 Hex per T-share payout at the moment. That could be 20, 30, 40, 50 Hex per T-share in the future. But of course, T-shares will be rarer, and those who stake longer will get the benefit of that, right? So that's what Hex is all about. Longer pays better. And there is a slightly a premium there for bigger pays better if you're able to grab that. That's what the pool stakes are about, opening up that bigger pays better bonus for smaller stakers. So that's pretty cool. Inflation's been pretty low. You can see inflation's pretty low. Now that's based on minted hex, right? Obviously, when you stake, you burn your hex, so it's really based on minted hex there. So it's cool. What else have we got going in there? We've got the stake percentage of coins at the moment. 9.59% of all hex is staked at the moment. And of course, the penalties today, 457,000. So a pretty low day, really. People are keeping their responsibilities with their stakes and good accounting. So very nice. The current stake is up 103. Woohoo! That's good. I love triple digits. You know me. And I'm talking about when Pulsechain comes, maybe we can get quad 4 digits or 5 digits. We could get some pretty insane stuff depending on how things go. Obviously, we've still got relatively, we want to get that virality. And once we get really virality start chinning out, maybe at the highest of stakes and Pulsecoin coming out, Pulsechain coming out, the official bridge opening up, all those sort of things start to get us up into that bigger growth level, So we're looking at that. So 99,338 current stakers at the moment. And of course, our current holders up 147 to 306.18. So good on the growth numbers. The community is generally still growing quite nicely at this stage. And we're not, trying to get to that pre-viral. We're still pre-viral and we're trying to cross over that virality. And that looks probably pretty positive for the end of the year. And when Pulsechain launches, all those things will help us to cross that bridge to virality. So very exciting. Very cool. We're on day 971, heading up towards 1,000 days. That's pretty much it today. Woohoo! Man, we packed that full of a lot of goodness. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I love it. And of course, we'll be back on again later on today. This is how we roll. 2 live streams a day. We'll be back on in about 4.5 hours, somewhere in that ballpark. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And of course, we're going to play out the PowerCity jingle on the way out. And of course, pump it up. I will see you guys next time. Take care out there. Special thanks once again to Jesse. It was so cool to have him on, and what a legend. And looking forward to other people as well. Woohoo! Let's go. Bam, 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 bam. All right. Thank you, Sandy. Put up. Bump it up. Nice. Thanks.